So welcome to this installment of How Much Would I Pay? I'm going to take a look at a 1956 TDH-3714 old look bus. Again, I have no affiliation with the seller or the buyer. I'm just going to kind of role play as a buyer and come up with a price that I would be willing to pay for this particular vehicle. So let's take a look. So this bus was sold on, or was for sale on busesforsale.com. It's no longer listed, but I was able to find an old listing for it. It's kind of a unique one in that it's in relatively good condition, or appears to be darn near mint condition, which is kind of interesting. So the description that they give for this bus, again, it's a 1956 GM 3714. It says a rebuilt 671 Detroit diesel, 2-speed automatic. It seats 37. Their comments are totally restored as new, including a rebuilt engine, 2-speed transmission, as a new interior or exterior and interior paint jobs, new bumpers, new seats, new tires, new brakes, drums and pads, brand new $10,000 air conditioning system, exact replica of the Rosa Parks bus. And at the time of this screenshot, it was being listed for $98,000. And then you contact them for any additional questions or anything like that. So let's take a look at some of the pictures. So the first picture, front left side of the bus. Again, the pictures aren't the highest quality, but it looks to be in actually really good condition. You can see that the rubber fenders are in really good condition. The bumper, there doesn't seem to be any waving, of the side of the bus and the metal. Interesting that this trim down the side is actually painted green. I'd have to take a look at the Rosa Parks bus. I didn't think that those were. So actually, I'll drop in a photo here of the photo that I took of that bus, and I don't think that it does, but okay, here it is. Doesn't look like there's a destination sign on the front. That should be visible through that. The front right side, again, looks to be in very nice condition. Can't tell, doesn't appear to be a destination sign on the inside. Has mirrors on both sides with it. Same kind of green trim down the side there. Doesn't have the logo, the Montgomery logo on the side that the Rosa Parks bus. I know that's should be there. It looks like there's a unit number on the top of the side window here. The Rosa Parks bus unit number was on the side, and this kind of like underneath that same window. So here's the engine compartment. It does have a fresh paint job. Looks like they did nothing to protect the engine from the paint, as all this like kind of blow through. That's kind of disappointing. That's a simple fix, right? Just throw some craft paper over it, tape it down, and they just painted right on it. So the driver's compartment. So while it does look like it's in great condition, it does have a fare box. I don't know if that's particular to any decade, but that could be found out. Instrumentation, as best I can tell, looks original. Yeah, it looks nice. Driver's seat. Looking back, there you go. We got the full seats. This must be the air conditioner that they're talking about in the back. Again, looks to be very nice. So here's that air conditioner. I think the next picture, there we go. So here's the air conditioner that they've installed on the overhead rear seat, I guess. That rear seat, so over that engine deck, the flooring actually raises a handful of inches. And then that ceiling is coming down because of the rear of the bus is rounded. Now there's an air conditioning unit there. I'm tall, but it probably wouldn't take a very tall person. You sit in that seat, like anytime you stand up, you're going to be clocking yourself on this air conditioning unit on there. I mean, I don't know where else you would put one on a bus like this, but that's a little disappointing, I guess. That would kind of affect the ability to sit there, people's interest in that. So I'm going to back up here and look at this photo. I guess I thought it was bigger. Okay, so this is looking at the left side of the bus. Again, it doesn't have any of the Rosa Parks, seals or anything like that from the Montgomery bus lines. The unit number, that has something else there. So one thing that I noticed on this, which is I can't think that any other GM Old Look bus didn't have this, because I've always seen a one with. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. But it doesn't have an emergency exit. I can't see. It should be relatively, even kind of a blurry picture like this, there should be a pretty defined line around that on the bus. Is that really missing the emergency exit? That's really strange. I would be concerned about that. That'd be a question that I have. The reason that's there is, if the bus rolls over on the side with the two doors, that everybody inside has a way to get out, because, these little passenger windows, you have to be relatively thin and agile to kind of get through this, whereas that emergency door, it's a full door, opens up, and it's a lot easier to kind of climb out. So I would hope that that's there. Maybe the picture in some way didn't pick up on that, but that's a little odd. It should pick up on that. So anyway, there's kind of the overall look of the bus. So how would I kind of score this bus? So the first thing I look at is the condition of the bus. And again, going from the blurry pictures and kind of taking the seller at their word, I'm giving this a 5 out of 5. It is a true transit vehicle. There doesn't seem to be anything that's missing. Everything seems to be relatively original. Obviously ignoring the air conditioning unit in the back. It's missing the destination sign, but that's a very, very small point when you're looking at a vehicle as a whole. Can it be restored? So again, out of 1 to 5, this is a 4. And the only reason I'm going to say a 4 is that air conditioning unit and the possible emergency exit being removed or just not seen. I would like to verify. I'm going to call it a 4 now, possibly a 5 if that emergency exit's there. And in the air conditioning unit, I'm kind of on the fence about its necessity on a vehicle like this, but I like it kind of more original than having that in there. And again, it affecting the ability to sit below it because this thing's hanging down there. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Uniqueness. So the seller didn't provide any information, didn't provide the actual serial number for it, so I don't know where did this bus originally reside. Again, that would kind of help kind of tell its story. And, is it, one of only a handful that are restored? Again, all this kind of questions that I ask without having any documentation and kind of taking me at their word. I'm going to give this a 1 out of 5. It could easily be higher if the seller had that information. If you were buying, just a quick question, hey, can you take some pictures of the builder plate? Can you take a picture of the serial number that's stamped on the engine block? Little things like that would probably help. So the provenance, that kind of plays into the provenance as well. So we don't have any real concrete documentation with a builder's plate or anything like that. So it may exist. It would take a little bit of research. But I'm going to give this a 1 out of 5 as well. So that kind of gives it a final score of 11 out of 20. Again, it'd be a little bit higher if those questions about the emergency exit and that air conditioning unit were kind of addressed. But it's a pretty nice bus. So then that leads me into my last thing I like to rank, which is the wow factor of this bus. What speaks to me that would probably convince me to go above and beyond when it came to paying for the bus, And again, not knowing the history to it, I don't think I have any connection to it. Granted, they said it's an exact replica of the Rosa Parks bus. It's not the same year, it's not the same model, it's got a similar paint job, it's missing all of the Montgomery bus lines seal on the side, it doesn't have the same unit number, it doesn't have a destination sign. I would like that if it was an exact replica of that, even if it was a different year and a different model, but everything else was there exactly like it, then yeah, there's a little bit of interest in that part, but it is not an exact replica of that bus. It would be like, I don't know, if you want the fan of the 1980s Kit Rider car, it's a black, Trans Am, but someone's selling an exact replica and it doesn't have part of the interior and it's a different year and it's missing the little red light on the front, and then you're like, well, it's the same, but it's not an exact replica of that. So anyway, so back to the wow factor. I'm really intrigued. The condition of this bus is really great. I think they did an amazing job with it. The engine compartment could use a fresh coat of paint on the inside to tidy that up. They did have some videos, I think originally I remember years ago looking at it, of it running. It seemed to run good. The links don't run now or work now because that sale is long gone. But again, the asking price I think was like $98,000 or something like that is what they're asking for. So how much would I pay? Again, my scale is 0 to 100,000. Again, I'm basing the 100,000 on the recorded sale of the bus from the movie Speed. They're asking 98. I don't know if buses, a restored bus yet can hold that value. I would love if they did. Don't get me wrong. But this bus, while it being in mint condition, any other equivalent bus have other buses sold for anything remotely close to this, I just wouldn't want to pay an exorbitant amount and then you just realize like you'll never get your money out of it. Like you can't even sell it for what you paid for it. So they're asking 98. I would be willing to pay less than that. I think similar buses that I've looked at kind of doing one of these how much would I pay episodes, I would say this is a solid $75,000, maybe $80,000, but I'll say a solid $75,000, which is low, a lot lower than they're asking. I see why they're asking that because of the condition, but how many people are shopping for one? And, I don't know. So that's it. I kind of feel like this hobby, if you will, of having these old buses. I wish there was some real value in it. I want something to prove to me that value is there, that, you put in $100,000 into restoring it. How much of that am I going to get back out of it? I just don't think the data's there, that no one's sharing the sales if they are happening. Maybe they're happening between private individuals rather through websites or public auctions. But, if you know anything about that, honestly, let me know in the comments. I think that would affect, what I or anybody else would be willing to pay for something if we knew what the true going rate is for vehicles like this. So, so that's my take on it. What would it take? The other question I would ask, what would it take to get a bus above the $100,000 mark? Granted, there's going to be a movie bus like in Speed, but what would it take for the average bus with no real, unique history to it to elevate it to that level? I don't know. Is it going to need to take more years and the market supply to diminish, that there are less and less buses that are in junkyards or even, sitting in people's garages or outbuildings to really kind of drive that price up? Time will tell. So that's my take on this bus. Let me know, how much would you pay? Let me know why I'm wrong. Maybe it's truly worth so much more. But again, this is how much I'd be willing to pay for this vehicle. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.